That was Linda Brooks with Now That You're Here from the album The Upside. And calling me now, all the way from Bedford, Nova Scotia, we have singer-songwriter Linda Brooks. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Thank you, Chad. Nice to talk to you.
Well, thanks for joining us here tonight. It's always my pleasure to talk to the new and up-and-coming Canadian artists,
Thanks.
Especially independent Canadian artists from across Canada. We certainly have a wide range of singers in this country.
Yes, no lack of talent, that's for sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. This is the second album. You were telling me off air that, or at least not the first anyways.
No, it's not the first. It's actually my third studio album. My
nice.
first one was done several years ago, and then I had a little bit of time off to have a family, and kept writing during all that time. And then I released another, my first CD back was a couple of years ago, and then I didn't let too much grass grow under my feet, I guess, as they say. I had only about 2 years between the last album and this one. And this one, The Upside, was recorded down in Nashville, which was my first time recording there.
What got you into music in the first place?
Well, I think it's kind of in my DNA a little bit because I grew up in a really musical family in northern New Brunswick, actually very close to the Quebec border in Perth Andover, New Brunswick. So we just kind of, it was a part of our everyday life. I was always surrounded by music, and I think I would be the black sheep in the family if I weren't doing something musical. So it just was something that was kind of a part of who I was from a very early age.
Were you always interested in country type music?
I certainly grew up hearing lots of that because my dad was a big country fan, but we also kind of grew up with a little bit of that Celtic tradition around us too. And then when I moved to Nova Scotia, of course, I got a little bit more immersed in that and had done some touring with artists like Natalie McMaster and Ashley McIsaac, and that was wonderful. So I guess my style is a little bit of a merge of adult contemporary and sort of contemporary country, and I don't think there's a lot of Celtic influence in there anymore, but it's a little bit of a mixed bag, I guess.
Did you have any heroes growing up?
Well, I have to say, and this will come out sounding like a very proud Canadian girl, which I am. But Anne Murray is probably one of my idols, someone that I looked up to from a very early age, and probably the very first concert that I saw. A female performing a live act in sort of a big sort of splashier way, I suppose. And I remember my dad taking me to that concert, and it was really the first time that I kind of thought, this is what I can do with this. This is how I can shape this, perhaps. So I've definitely been influenced by Anne Murray very much, actually, and kind of have a voice that sits in a similar range. So it was always easy for me to sing her music and relate to it, I guess, too.
Would you say she was as female artist goes, she was a strong female role model? I would say,
yeah, I would have to say she was. I'm also a big fan of Karen Carpenter. Listened to her a lot growing up. Emmylou Harris. There's a big, long list. And now I really love, Roseanne Cash, and, there's Sean Colvin, and there are just lots of great female artists to kind of, look up to and learn from. And then, of course, you want to carve out your own sound. It's great to be inspired by other people, but to try and, carve out your own unique place in the middle of that.
So what came first, the songwriting or the singing, or was it a mixture of both?
Well, I'd have to say that the singing probably came first. I as a little girl, I used to go to my grandmother's house right next door every day and sing, and it was just kind of, there was never any lack of music in our household or in my grandparents, so from a really early age, I just probably sang as soon as I talked. So I'd have to say that part came first. But I started writing poetry, which I guess was now in hindsight the beginning of me writing lyrics. I started that when I was in about grade 4 or 5, and really never stopped from that point on. And then, eventually figured out how to shape the music along with it into a song.
Now, on this latest album, The Upside, you've written or co-written every song on it. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the collaborative efforts.
Process, yeah.
Yeah, was that easy? Well, not asking you if it was easy, but was it something different for you to collaborate with someone?
Well, it was on my last album was probably the first time that I had co-written with anyone, and it's a different type of experience, completely different type of experience. But what I really like about it is that, as with anything that you get familiar doing, you can kind of get stuck in your own devices and stuck in your own sort of patterns. And when you write with someone else, it takes you outside of that. So it sort of challenges you to, think about different chord structures. And I've written all the lyrics for everything, but musically, the collaboration musically really kind of stretched me in a really positive way. It kind of exposed me to different ways of thinking, and you write with different people who have slightly different sensibilities, and I think it opens you up to kind of stretching yourself outside of what your own sort of musical habits are, I guess.
You've gone down to Nashville to record. What's your appeal with Music City? Is it still called Music City?
I guess it is. Yeah. I mean, I didn't get a lot of time, unfortunately, to really experience Nashville outside of the studio because I was always there. I've been down 3 times in the past year, and always to be in the studio working. So there was a little bit of time, but. I have quite a few musician friends who have all, made the pilgrimage, I guess you would call it, and said what a wonderful experience it was. And again, I think it's just about stretching yourself because you can sort of, be comfortable where you are and be around. Certainly, I've had the opportunity to work with some great musicians here in Nova Scotia, but I just felt like you don't grow and get better if you don't put yourself in new situations with people who have different and sometimes more experience than you've had at what you're doing. So, I definitely I'd heard wonderful things about the people who had gone there. I'd heard wonderful music coming back, and I didn't want to deprive myself of that experience any longer. So I made my own little pilgrimage to Nashville, and, I was lucky enough to have some wonderful people that I was put in touch with who really introduced me to Nashville in the most beautiful way, really. They were just there to be supportive and really to try and help me to shape my music in the way that I saw it going, rather than trying to put any sort of like predetermined stamp on it or make it more country than it was. They were just, just there to try and help me bring the music out to the best of its ability.
It definitely sounds like you had a wonderful experience in Nashville. At any time did you feel intimidated at all?
I would say, it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. The only time I felt intimidated was when I was actually traveling down before I had actually stepped foot in the studio. And of course, we'd had some emails and conversations back and forth, and everything was certainly looking like it was. All indications were very positive that this was the right group of people to be working with and the right configuration. But I think, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little daunting the first time you step into Nashville. But the minute that I was in the studio and met the musicians and, we were listening to music, immediately we were a band working toward the same goal. And I never felt it from that moment on. So it was only just sort of in my own, a little intimidation maybe in my own mind on the way there. But once I was in the moment, it was, it couldn't have been anything, but it couldn't have been more wonderful than it was, really, I don't think. It was a very validating experience, and musicians who have a lot of playing on experience on records and live, the gentleman that ended up co-producing the album and played guitar and really put a lot of the session together for me is Chris Lusinger, who has played guitar on every Garth Brooks album.
Nice.
So that was a real, I guess you call it a coup to get him involved in the project, and I could not have I felt more embraced or supported or validated than I did in that experience. It was a real gift, really.
You have a busy summer coming up?
Yes, it's starting to heat up, and that's a great thing. I mean, the more I perform and the more I'm out promoting the album, the happier I am. So doing a couple of shows here locally, one in particular that's coming up that I'm looking forward to is in mid-July in the Truro area, just outside of Halifax, and that's with the Russell DeCarl Trio. And people may know Russell from his Prairie Oyster days. He was the frontman for the band Prairie Oyster, who are a wonderful Canadian band. I've been a big fan of theirs for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to that show.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, your latest album is called The Upside. We heard one track off of that called Now That You're Here. We're going to hear another one momentarily called Sunshine.
Yes.
What will people find if they pick up your album?
I think that what I hope that the album will give people is a sense of joy. And, it certainly, when I was writing it and when we were recording it, I was reflecting on the fact that the world has kind of been in a rough place for the last little while, and I think that, we could do with a little bit of optimism, perhaps. And so it wasn't sort of an optimism born out of naivety, but more just, a recognition that there's still hope, and that though we've had some tough times globally, we can still make every effort to move in positive direction as much as possible. And so I think the album is very sort of celebratory of that idea that, that we have to keep moving in a forward direction, and that there's a lot in the midst of all the difficulty that's been going on around the world. There's still a lot to be thankful and hopeful and joyful about, and that's really what the album is about.
Sounds like a great album to pick up. Now, are you active online?
I am, yes. I'm active on Facebook. I'm just at the beginning of becoming, active on Twitter in a way that actually looks like I know what I'm doing, and MySpace, and I have a website, which is www.lindabrooksmusic.com, where I sort of keep everything as up to date as possible. And I'm making efforts to become more and more socially active and savvy all the time. So it's a great way to connect with your fans and to get more fans, coming to your music and finding it, and just to connect with other artists too.
Can you get digital copies of your music?
Yes, the album is available on iTunes, along with my last CD, and also a Christmas single, which I released this past Christmas season, called This Christmas. So if people go to iTunes, they can find everything there. And
since it's a single Christmas song, probably not available on any album.
It's not, but I'm sure that there will be a Christmas album in the works shortly,
nice.
And if not this Christmas, then the following year, and I'll have one that I can include. So, and there's also a video for that Christmas song, which was also recorded in Nashville, and the video was done in California, and that's available on YouTube. So people can find me on YouTube, iTunes, pretty much everywhere you would go to look normally for a musical artist.
Well, This Christmas is in the database for this Christmas, but don't be shy to send us any more Christmas songs.
I certainly will. Thank you.
We're going to listen to your latest single. It's a debut release on CHIP-FM, and what can you tell us about it?
Well, this is actually one of the co-writes on the album, and it was co-written with a gentleman named James Logan, who did the other two co-writes with me. I wrote this song actually after my first trip to Nashville, and I think it probably does contain some of the, gratitude and joy I feel about, having positive people around you and working with you. But I also thought it would just be a great summertime song to kind of celebrate, that time of year when we Canadians actually get to enjoy the sunshine.
Perfect. Well, Linda, thank you again for giving us a call here at CHIP, and I hope that you'll call us again in the future.
Oh, of course, I will be happy to talk to you anytime, Ted, and thank you so much.
I hope also that if you're in the Ottawa Valley, you'll stop by.
I will do that for sure.
Here's Linda Brooks with Sunshine.
You've got a way of making the sky